Well folks, after a non-stop drive through the night, left yesterday evening from Wyandotte, Michigan, and I just drove hundreds of miles. I've made it here to Wallops Island, Virginia, in the NASA Wallops Space Flight Center. We have another great NASA social coming up this week. Very excited about it. Check-in actually happening right now. Gotta hustle over to this visitor center. Oh my goodness, what a journey. I'm honestly blown away by the fact that I was able to just push through that and just keep going, just keep driving. The night prior wasn't enough sleep. So then to say, okay, and now the very following night, you're also not gonna get like any sleep because you're just gonna be driving straight through it, and that's the only way to get here on time to check in. It's like, oh my gosh, that's quite a tall order. I was able to get a quick little 2-hour power nap in at the end here because I hustled and got in by 5:45 a.m. Oh my goodness. But you know what, it's a beautiful day out here in Virginia. Let's enjoy it, let's do this. Making our way to our first building tour of the day. Getting these tours started. Safety glasses, haven't had to have that for any of these so far.
In the world of rockets, big or small, we like to talk about them in sections, okay? Because they're big, complicated things. So we usually talk about the launch vehicle. That's the actual rocket motors. It's the engines, or in our case, solid fuel rocket motors that are going to get you up into space. And then on top of that, you're going to have the payload. That's the important part. That's either going to be a spacecraft, satellite, or in our case, it's everything above the NASA meatball, the whole shiny aluminum bit all the way to the tip. That's our payload. And that's crammed full of science experiments. Telemetry, an attitude control system, it could have a recovery system if we want to recover it, etc., etc. So that's the part that's designed, fabricated, and tested in-house, okay? We are a fire and forget science missile. That's what we do, okay? We're suborbital. Nothing in sounding rockets goes into orbit. They all essentially, here's my Earth, they go up and come straight back down. Now, straight back down might be like 100 miles away, downrange, but on the scale of the Earth, it's basically straight up and straight down. To get into an orbit, like Antares is going to have to do tomorrow, and Cygnus is going to have to do, how do you get into an orbit? Anybody know? How do you get caught in a low Earth orbit?
You gotta escape Earth's gravity.
You have to, right, so we got to get up outside the atmosphere, and you don't want to escape Earth's gravity. You want to get caught by Earth's gravity, okay? And start to go tangent to the Earth, and start to go around the Earth, and you have to be going really fast. Does anybody know how fast you have to go to be in low Earth orbit? All right. Nailed it. 17,500 miles per hour. That's how fast the International Space Station is traveling around Earth. Every 90 minutes, it makes a lap around Earth, okay? So you're traveling so fast forward that even though Earth's gravity is pulling you down, it's pulling you down, but you're going so fast in a forward direction, you keep missing Earth. So you're perpetually falling. That's how you get trapped in lower Earth, okay? It's a fun physics problem wrapped in mind. We fill a niche for NASA, okay? A lot of times, we're trying to study things about the Earth, especially at higher altitudes. You get to a range where there's kind of this dead band, where you're too high for a high altitude balloon, but too low to really hold a really efficient orbit. It would be really not efficient. You'd start to fall. So a sounding rocket is perfect. We can fly through that altitude and do science. So that's what we do for NASA. All the hard parts, mechanical stuff is all made in here. Everything's mostly made out of aircraft grade aluminum. They start putting it all together. All those systems have to come together, and you have to do that in a controlled way. And then in here, using all this equipment, they can actually transmit telemetry, power the payload, and basically eventually get to the point where they're basically simulating the flight here on the workbench. So electrically simulating the flight. And we call that sequence testing. So we'll start timers and everything at T0, and right, what happens at T0? Blast off, right? Okay, so you're counting down, right? 3, 2, 1, and T0 is ignition. And that's going to set off a whole chain of events. Oh, thank you, Eric. Show and tell.
That's a scan.
Perfect. That's going to set off a whole chain of events. Everything runs on timers in flight. It's all automated. There are very few sounding rockets that actually have a command uplink where we can tell it what to do. There is a small percentage of them that do. So we have to test all that stuff to make sure it's all set up right. Now, wires and connectors and things. No, it's missing. All the important bits aren't in here right now. This is an old one that probably flew in TMAC. But you can see these antennas on the side, beacons. These wraparound antennas, these gray things, are telemetry. And that's how we're getting all the data real time in flight, and we know what it's doing. Big white things on the end are batteries, and then all these other electronic boxes are doing all sorts of fun things. And I'm not sure what they're doing. My telemetry.
If you're looking at our rocket and you look one more stand over, you're looking at Pad 0B. That is where we launch Northrop Grumman's Minotaur rockets.
And here's our up-close look just about 800 meters away from that Antares rocket, ready to launch tomorrow afternoon.
Let's just think about one thing. Let's think about your food, okay? So now you got to bring all of your food with you for 3 years. Now, who's gone backpacking for a week with backpacking food? Okay. Now imagine that for 3 years.
And now we are getting ready for a live NASA TV event, going over what's on board.
Today we'll be discussing the science launching aboard Northrop Grumman's 11th Commercial Resupply Services mission to the International Space Station on tomorrow, Wednesday, April 17. The Cygnus spacecraft will carry about 7,600 pounds of research, supplies, and hardware, and we're going to highlight a few of the science investigations and technology projects during our broadcast today.
The cell phone market reduced the size of things, and now they can put something, pretty good in this. Plus, the price of getting them launched was down, and we fixed the size of the box that they could put it in. But the thing that happened was the price of the launches went up. When you get the big guys in here, they have more money than the universities have or the education system has. So, we decided, well, if it was too small for them, maybe they'd leave us alone if we made it small. So what we did is come up with the idea of this little thing, and we called it a pocket cube. It fits in your pocket. And we come to the conclusion, hey, we could, in the same volume that a CubeSat is, we could launch 8 of these. Oh boy, 8 of them. Now you take the price of launch and you divide it by 8, and it almost is the cost that you can do in a bake sale, So we were getting there a lot closer. Well, we looked around for launches and actually got some of these launched on a Russian rocket in 2013. And it was a very interesting experiment because if you go get a CubeSat now and you buy a commercial radio off the shelf for a CubeSat, they're about $5,000. So we got this $14 radio and put in it, and it worked. We didn't get high data rate out of it, but it worked. And so that's kind of our motto: is how cheap can we go and still make it work in space?
The ISS Program Science Office recently released the 3rd edition of their Benefits for Humanity book, which contains more than 100 stories representative of more than 2,500 scientific research and technology demonstration activities. You can follow all the latest research being conducted aboard our laboratory. Again, follow on @ISS_research on Twitter, or by using nasa.gov/ISS-science. Thank you for joining us on our Once on Board briefing. Thank you and have a good day.
And we have one last event for our first day here, the pre-launch news conference.
Good afternoon and welcome to NASA's Wallops Flight Facility in Virginia for our pre-launch news conference for Northrop Grumman's 11th Commercial Resupply Services mission to the International Space Station. The launch of the Cygnus spacecraft, filled with about 7,600 pounds of research, crew supplies, and hardware, is scheduled for tomorrow, Wednesday, April 17, during a 5-minute launch window that opens at 4:46 p.m. Eastern.
Well, folks, that is the end of day one here at the NASA Wallops Flight Facility. Great day of tours of the facility, getting to hear from people here at this press conference, going over the pre-launch briefing. Gotta be honest with you, I'm a little surprised that I got through it all without being completely and totally just like falling asleep at the wheel, because it was just such a long drive getting here last night, 2 hours of sleep in some random gas station parking lot leading up to this, and then here I am, an all-day event. But you know what, I pulled it through. I'm going to my hotel now. I'm gonna go get some rest. We'll be back at it tomorrow, launch at 4:46 p.m. Gonna be a great one. We're looking forward to it. Weather's looking A1. Getting started with day 2 here at NASA. Walking over for a Facebook Live event with some astronauts now.
I'm up here to introduce Robert Kirby, who is our VP of Strategy and Business Development for our Space Systems Division at Northrop Grumman.
The launch you're going to see today is supporting the Commercial Resupply Services contract. And what we're trying to do is resupply the International Space Station. The vehicle you see behind me is called Cygnus. It goes on top of an Antares rocket. Both vehicles are built by the Northrop Grumman Corporation. And the design of this mission is to take about 7,600 pounds of cargo up to the International Space Station. Food, clothing, experiments, things like that. Anything that they need to go up to the International Space Station, we can send in on Cygnus. So that's what Cygnus is designed for, except for people. We don't take people in Cygnus, just to be clear. In my first flight, we had, I think, 30 or 40 experiments that we were doing, all kinds. Looking at the Earth, looking out at the universe, colon cancer experiment, which I did. This is truly use of space to make life better here. And I'm hoping that through missions like this with Cygnus and longer duration missions, we take more experiments from more people up and up into space, and then do more science, because that's what it's all about.
All right, so my name's Joe O'Brien. I'm the NASA station manager for the Near Earth Network. We're responsible for tracking many of NASA's Earth science and space science missions. Primarily low Earth orbiting. We do out to Lagrangian points and cislunar orbits.
They get 1/1000th of the photons that they send out might get reflected back up. But based upon that, they're actually able to calculate many things. And one of the things that they're doing is they have a little project with school kids, where the school kids will actually go out and measure the height of a tree. And as ISAT goes over it, it's also measuring that tree. Not just the ice, but it's measuring the tree, and they're comparing the heights between what the school kids are capturing to make sure that ISAT is actually getting a very valid data of what's going on.
And you can see in the distance a massive lineup of cars, multiple miles long. Everybody waiting to get a good viewing area for this launch. Thankfully, we'll have our own designated spot being here with the NASA social group.
They're going to be coming back down the ramp, so it's going to get pretty loud in a couple minutes as that plane eventually catches back out front here.
They're currently calling us over there, beckoning us to check out this plane. I don't even think this was on the itinerary.
This C-130 just came off of a maintenance cycle, so they were checking to make sure everything is good, that everything's still working well. We're going to come around the back here.
Yo, do you see this backup of cars? This is not just for that red light, because it goes on and on and on for about 2 miles over to the visitors center. This is unbelievable, and I don't actually know how far it goes this way. I didn't even get a chance to look. We're gonna see now while we're driving. Well, folks, we are just under an hour to go into launch, and we have just now made it to our launch viewing area. Let me show you now. Much different from the Kennedy Space Center, where everything was just like along the water. Here it's just a lot of grassy fields. Everybody getting the tripod set up, gotta get the best shot possible. Middle of the afternoon, as you can see, it is a beautiful, beautiful day out. Should be a great viewing for this launch. And it is now T-minus 5 minutes. Got a great view of this rocket. Ready to go, folks.
There you go.
Wow.
Good flow.
Well, folks, just had a fantastic launch here at the Wallops Flight Facility. Thrilled with the video that I was able to get. Going with that bigger lens definitely helped. Glad I got that. Oh my goodness, perfect shot. Just beautiful, beautiful day out here. What an experience it has been. I am so grateful for the last 2 days, getting a chance to tour the facilities here, go inside of that plane of theirs, that C-120 was it? Oh my goodness. So many different speakers, so informative, a lot of science and technology. Every time I come to these, I learn something new and I feel so much more connected to space and exploration, research, everything that's been going on. You know, it's really an amazing front, especially now with these partnerships between NASA and commercial entities like Northrop Grumman, SpaceX. You know, this whole thing is really something kind of unimaginable when you think about 20, 30 years ago. So it really is beautiful to see. I'm so grateful for a chance to witness this in person, grateful for the opportunity to help share NASA's message and showcase, you know, just what's going on right now, because not everybody knows what NASA's been up to. I've talked to people that thought that it was shut down, that thought that it was defunded or something. So NASA is very much alive and well. They are busy, and you know what? They are pulling it off. They are doing it well. Unfortunately, the time has come for me to depart here from Wallops Flight Facility. Got a long drive home, 11 hours back to Michigan, but it's been a pleasure. So glad that I came out here. Grateful that I made the journey and made that 11-hour drive overnight to get out here. Oh my gosh. Some of the things I do for NASA. Anywho, I'm Rennie Gutenschwager, Wednesday, April 17th, 2019. You're watching The Brennan Show.